Hello, sports fans. This is Coach Mad Mike.
And Lord Sarge!
And welcome to Football Psych. And we are getting ready to do the NFC. If those of you who've been fans of the show here for a little while know, we did the AFC breakdown of the standings and playoff predictions. Now, we will do playoff predictions actually next week on the 12th of July, so stay tuned. Right now, you can always go back and look at the AFC that we did last week. But this week, we're going to focus on the NFC pictures that will give us a clear idea of who's actually going to make the playoffs, and then we'll make that run. And so we do things different from all the other analysts. We actually did the hard work, which is doing a schedule-by-schedule breakdown prediction of wins and losses, which before we did this, we didn't realize just exactly how hard that is.
Wait a minute, Coach Mad Mike, let's get this straight. You did all the hard work and analysis. That was you, boss. I just hit the pretty slides.
Well, you're my partner in crime here, and so we're going to go and break down all this analysis, and let's get into it.
All right, so we're going to answer 3 questions as we always do, folks. After analyzing each team's schedule for predicted wins and losses, what will the division standings look like? The NFC today, we did the AFC last week, as we just told you. Based on the division standings, what will the playoff picture look like for the 2024 and 2025 season? And watch on 12 July. Who's our prediction for the Super Bowl? Our analysis may shock you again, 12 July.
All right, so that brings us to, my favorite division. Well, because I'm a Washington Commanders fan, it is the NFC East. Woo! And we're going to get right into my team and where I think they're going to be. You know, last year they only won 4 games all year. I think they're going to double that. I've been saying that for many, many weeks now, even though I've had a lot of people say we're not going to get more than 7 wins. I've had other people say, yeah, probably not even that. I'm still sticking to it. I think we're going to get 8 wins. And when I look at the schedule, this is what I think is going to happen. I actually think that the Washington Commanders will split games with both Dallas and Philadelphia. A lot of those games were really, really close last year. And, well, we're a completely different team this year. And I believe we're going to sweep the Giants, even though Malik Neighbors has to say otherwise to Jay and Daniels. But I believe that we're going to start off week 1 with a huge win against Tampa Bay. Because why? Well, because I'm going to be at the game, and I can't go there and lose.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do that.
And then week 8 against Chicago, of course, we've got to beat the number 1 draft pick over there.
That's going to be a crazy game.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I actually like that those two are matched up.
Yeah, it's awesome they did that, how that worked out.
Yeah,
so, really, Mike, I'm going to have to disagree.
Go ahead, disagree with something.
And just here's my gut. All right, I think if the Commanders do anything less than 9-8, it's considered a huge loss for them with all the changes, all the new player personnel, the new coaching, and all the hype, which frankly is deep. I think they got to be 9-8. I think they sweep the Cowboys. I don't think they split with the Cowboys. I just don't see how the boys are going to beat them. Every other thing I love on here, but I think they're 9-8. I just do.
Well, you know what? If I will take
see the
that
Cowboys
wrong,
going 6-11.
I don't mind being wrong if we're 9-8. I don't think it's going to happen, but
I mean, it's good.
There would be one point I wouldn't mind being wrong.
Yeah,
because if we're 9-8, we have a chance to kind of squeak maybe with the wild card game. Who knows? But even if we only go 8-9, I think it's a much improved season over the 4-win team that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters inherited. This team, I will tell you, the key to this team is whether or not they gel, and because more than half of the offensive starters and more than half of the defensive starters are new to this team.
Right. So it's either going to work or it's going to be a cluster.
A cluster. Yeah.
One game.
All right. So that brings us to, my rivals, the Dallas freaking Cowboys. So anyway, I actually look at the Dallas Cowboys having the begin of the meltdown. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because of Jerry Jones. So if you're a Cowboys fan, you're watching this, Jerry Jones said in the offseason, I'm all in. We're going to freaking make a run for it. I'm all in, and did absolutely nothing but piss off his quarterback, piss off his wide receiver by not giving him contract extensions and making them play out the final year.
That's why I'm saying, Coach Mad Mike, I think
with their final
is gracious. with all the internal bobbling and squabbling and the motivation and the synergy that team usually has is kind of like every man for himself. So what are they playing for, right? I mean, they're playing for their own individual contract, but they're not playing as the boys. So I think
it's going to be tough. Because I will tell you what, there's going to be a little bit of desperation, I believe, with this team because Mike McCarthy, obviously is on the hot seat.
Yeah,
but if Dak Prescott wants to remain a Dallas Cowboy and remain the franchise quarterback, he's got to prove things. If CD Lamb wants to be around, which I don't think he will, because I don't think they're going to be able to afford him, he's going to be gone.
Have you seen anything in the news that says Prescott is dying to be a Cowboy?
Well, I mean, you don't hear him saying that he wants to go somewhere else.
His agent saying, I want my boy to be paid.
Yeah, I mean, they all want to get paid, right? But, like, here's the issue with them is that, and I've mentioned this on other episodes too, this team will not be able to afford both CeeDee Lamb and Drake.
You're right.
Dak Prescott. If it ends up being Dak Prescott is the guy, then that means CeeDee Lamb's gone.
Right.
And that means they're working on trying to work a contract extension with Micah Parsons in order to at least hold the defense together.
What do they have on offense after that? Like, seriously.
Well, they've got other players, but like CeeDee Lamb is a huge loss, and they never fixed the running back game once Pollard left.
Right. So, see what I'm saying? So it's all on Dak.
So we'll see what happens for them next year, but I do see them taking a huge step back. And because they don't make a playoff, because Jerry Jones is like, he thinks like they're Super Bowl bound. Like they're like, he's hitting the reset button and he expects Mike McCarthy to take him to the Super Bowl. That is not happening. It is not. I don't even see them making a playoff. So I actually see Coach McCarthy being fired at the end of the season and this team falling apart.
Which man, Mike, I kudos to you. I have to agree. It just seems like it's a team in complete disarray now. Where they had a shot last year and they blew it down the stretch, but they were looking strong. This year, it's a mess.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I'm already predicting next year maybe Bill Belichick returns to coaching. He's coaching the Cowboys.
Wait a minute, Coach Mike, did you say Belichick comes back as a coach?
Yep.
No. He's got a 23-year-old girlfriend. She's got him out shopping at the mall. He ain't got time to coach a team. He's never going to keep that girl.
He's going to feel young and he's going to feel motivated.
Oh, he's not going to be able to keep that girl if he goes back to coaching. She has no idea what that's like.
All he has to do is give her an ATM card. She'll be all right.
Oh, my God, Coach Mike. Oh.
All right, so Philadelphia Eagles. I don't really see anybody in the division, holding them back. My Commanders will not hold them back. I will tell you what. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win this division easily. Like easily. They will sweep Dallas and the Giants. I have them splitting the Commanders in a tight one. But I have them winning the NFC East, hands down.
Coach Mike, if they don't show up that way, that's major troubles on the water there, right? If they don't show up that way, that's major issues. Because as you know, they lost a lot of player personnel. I mean, they got Saquon. And if he goes down with an injury, he doesn't what are they? I mean, this division is going to be fun to watch this year.
It will be, and I tell you what. Also, the first ever NFL game will be played in Brazil this year, and it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles against the Green Bay Packers. And I predict that the Eagles will beat the Packs in Brazil. So that would be kind of interesting there.
There's been a lot of strong. Green Bay starts off weak. Yeah, how can I say? Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And that brings us to the New York Giants, who I think are just still a completely rebuilding team and still don't have their quarterback situation figured out because I'm not real high on Jones right now.
Yeah.
But I actually have them splitting the game with Dallas. I actually think Dallas will get into some trouble. Will probably go into this game a little overconfident and get spanked. But I believe that they're going to get swept by both the Commanders and Eagles.
The G-men always seem to show up when they're not expected to, right? They always seem to show up when they're not expected to. So, yeah.
And I expect them probably to shock. This is my prediction, that they're going to shock the Vikes out the gate before they start losing.
That would be cool.
I mean, because who do the Vikes have?
Yeah.
I mean, they gave Jefferson a very, very nice, healthy contract, but they don't have anybody to throw him the ball.
Yep.
All right, so that brings us to the NFC West, to the 49ers, the defending NFC champions here. I still have them winning their division, but I don't have them.
It's so interesting you calling the Jets to come out and cram them on the first game. That would be, that says something about my Jets there and Aaron Rodgers, what potential's there. If they come out of the gate like that and put San Fran down, that is going to be something. That is going to be something.
I think you got to have a wonderful game like that because it just sets the tone of the season where everybody's just like, what?
Yep. Where they come from? We weren't expecting that. Yep.
Like, oh my goodness. Like, really? The NFC champs lost to the Jets? Yeah. Yeah. Jets fans, Jets. Yeah, you guys are going to love that one. All right. Yep. All right. So that brings us to the Los Angeles Rams. And what do we think they're going to do? I mean, you can never count out Sean McVay and what he's able to do.
And Matthew Stafford, yeah.
And Matthew Stafford. Now, they struggled at the beginning. I have them struggling in the first 4 games of the season. Yeah. But, they get their act together, and they have a pretty solid season. All right? I have them as a playoff team. And I have them splitting games against San Francisco as well as Seattle.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I mean, I look at them the same as I expect them to do the same as they did last year. I expect them to get into the dance, but
yeah,
will they be able to do the tango and get all the way to the final dance? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So that brings us to the Seahawks, and I got a nice bold prediction about what's going to happen there. I believe that they start off struggling. I have them winning 1 out of their first 5 games, and sooner or later, they're going to get away from Geno Smith because I believe Geno Smith is going to be the week 1 start, but they're going to get away from him and get to Sam Howell, and then they're going to like what they see. And you're going to see them have a little bit up and down in the second half of the season, but pretty solid, decent performance by Sam Howell as he gets comfortable in this new offseason. This is kind of like a touchy-feely kind of year for them as they kind of get their crap together, right? I do believe that they do give an upset game to the 49ers in week 6 and also to the Rams, which even though they don't make the playoffs, that's something to build on. And then go to next year and build around Sam Howell.
So if you figure out what they're going to do, they're going to walk away from a lackluster performance in the top of the year from Geno and go with Sam Howell, that means Geno's done. He's done. He's gone next year.
He'll be gone.
They're going to go with Howell and draft somebody new.
And Geno Smith will get picked up by some other team as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that this is Geno Smith's last year as a starter. I believe Sam Howell's going to be the future of this team.
Very interesting.
That brings us to the Arizona Cardinals, who, quite frankly, I think will struggle.
Yeah.
Even though they have a very young...
They're the underdog. I like tiny little Kyler Murray, running around on my TV screen. I love that kid. I don't know what it is about him, but I'm behind him. I'm in his corner. He's like the new Doug Flutie. You know what I mean? He's a first round. I wouldn't have put him in the category of Doug Flutie because Kyler Murray was a first round draft pick. He's supposed to be a freaking stud. I'm just saying
he's not supposed to be an underdog.
Well, as he plays,
he's tanking.
The team around him is just that bad. I think he has.
Well, I mean, he's that bad too. So I mean, they all have to get it together. But one thing I do like about this team is they've been rebuilding. So this is a rebuilding year. They're going to shake things out. They're going to figure out who else that they need to get rid of. And they're going to build in next year. Watch out for this team next year.
They didn't they have the number 1 or number 2 slot with the most amount of draft picks this year? It was insane.
Yeah.
We couldn't squeeze it on the chart. There was so many draft picks.
Yeah, they had a lot of draft picks. So did the Washington Commanders. Them and the Washington Commanders just had a buttload of draft picks. And I will tell you that with this team being young like it is, I expect Washington to do better than them. But the Cardinals are rebuilding. Watch them in a year or 2. They're going to look good. And I don't know if Kyler Murray will be the guy under center or not.
They could surprise. They could be ahead of the Seahawks. They could. I mean, it's possible.
It could. It kind of depends on
how bad the Hawks are.
Yeah, how bad the Hawks are, and if they really transition, how quickly or do they not transition so quickly to Sam Howell?
Yeah.
Right? Coaching decisions play a huge part of that.
Yep.
That brings us to the NFC North and to your beloved
division. It's my division.
So I got the Lions winning the division and home field advantage. You're the number 1 seed there, Lord Sarge. I don't know if I was feeling generous or if the analysis still said all that, but
well,
I do.
I
got them that way.
If they don't get back to the conference championship, I think that's a bad sign, right? All the indicators, all the hype, all the news is pointing that they've only improved on last year. The only thing that doesn't account for is Dan Campbell still hasn't learned how to kick the dadgum football through the uprights with a kicker, and luck, because finally luck rained down on the Lions last year in a couple of very tough situations, and they squeaked their way through. 3 or 4 games were so close that it could have gone either way, and that doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Like, I'm glad we won.
Well, I will tell you, I believe that this Lions defense. I will tell you, I believe this Lions defense is so much stronger. Reader is.
This is a good call. Maybe even 12-5. But
yeah, I mean, I'll stick with 11-6. But like, I do believe that they're very strong. I believe that once you get them into the playoffs, that they're going to be strong there. You always got to watch out for Dan Campbell making stupid decisions under pressure. But
injuries.
Well, I mean, that's any team, right? Injuries
right.
is any team.
But so, I mean, a couple of their key positions are with people who struggled through the playoff stretch last year and played hurt. Hopefully they're healthy. Hopefully you get to the dance, down into the dance this year. And when they're there, they're healthy enough to push through. I think they built some depth. I have to agree with you. I think they built some depth in key places. And I think they shored up the cornerback position enough to take some of those games that were close and won by luck.
I think they
won them outright.
I think they did an amazing job rebuilding the secondary. And Sutton's gone, which is also a huge plus. I mean, this secondary is going to look so much better.
Let's hope.
Terrion Arnold, I will tell you, I still believe
insane.
It's going to be defensive rookie of the year.
Pinky looks crazy.
He will be defensive rookie of the year, in my opinion.
And for those of you football side fans that wonder what is Large Sarge, what is Pinky? Pinky is Terrion Arnold, because he came out in the draft in a pink suit. So he's forever in my mind Pinky. So when you hear me say Pinky, it's Terrion Arnold. And I'm going to be calling him Arnold a lot, I think.
And he's a Lions fan, so he gave him the nickname, and it's going to stick. So Pinky is going to be defensive rookie of the year, in my opinion. And I actually have the Lions doing very, very well this year. But I do have them losing a very frustrating game to the Bucs. And so
they didn't tighten the playoffs.
And then a tough one against Chicago. Anytime you got Bears and Lions play each other, I mean, you just got some gritty football going on, and you're liable to drop a game.
Yep.
In one of those. So I mean, but I do like Detroit's chances this year.
Yeah, if anything, they're an improved team, right? They are an improved team.
I believe that they're improved
with a bit of a chip on their shoulder and there's cohesion in that team, right? There's focus.
Yeah.
So,
and if you guys remember, if you guys paid attention to the NFC North outlook that we did, you guys could always go back and look up that video. One of the things I really liked about this team was holding the coaching staff together.
Yeah.
When you had Ben Johnson, who was coveted as for a head coaching job, and even Aaron Glenn, who was being coveted for head coaching jobs, and somehow you maintain them both with Dan Campbell. That's huge. That tells me that those coordinators are like, I think I can get a ring if I stay.
Yep, exactly.
And so we'll see if that happens. Exactly. All right, so that brings us to the Chicago Bears, who I actually think are going to be a really fun team to watch this year.
It's going to be interesting. Number 1 draft pick QB, two top flight wide receivers. I mean, This could be fun. Watching
and I actually think with all that put together that they're going to be very dynamic, and they will be a playoff team, that they will win a playoff berth.
They should.
Yep. I think that they'll be fighting with Green Bay all along the stretch, and they might eke them out. But they got to do it. And I have them with a split with Minnesota in an upset game.
Yeah, that would be an upset, wouldn't it?
It would
definitely be an upset where Minnesota's at right now. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. But, But we'll see what happens, right? So that brings us to the Green Bay Packers, who will also squeak in with a final wild card spot. Very interesting. Of course, Love is going to have to really get things going, which I think he does. I think that they get on a little bit of a roller coaster throughout the season, as you can kind of see with the wins, losses.
Last 2 years,
they do enough to win.
Slow, right? They start off with problems, and then they finish like gangbusters, and leaving that question mark on the team, right? So if they're out of the gate strong this year, again, this is an improved team as well, I think.
Well, I have this team pretty much the first half of the season being a 500 team.
Yeah.
Before they kind of really put it together near the end. But I do believe your Lions are going to sweep them.
Let's hope so. We need to.
Yeah, I don't think Green Bay matches up very well with them, and that's something that they need to address moving forward. But I believe they're going to
put a clamp on the passing game, right? So I think before, where teams thought they could get away with burning Sutton, I think they're double thinking the pinky.
Yeah,
how do we game plan against that guy? So even with a talent like Love, with his wide receivers, I think that's a different animal in the Lions now that they're going against. So yeah.
And that brings us to the Vikes. And the Vikes are going to be pulling up the end. They will only win one game in their division. That'll be Chicago, with kind of a little bit one. And but I believe that they will shock and beat Kirk Cousins.
I love that you're calling that. I love that you're calling that. Oh, that would be crazy.
I got to call something crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't get Coach Man Mike for no reason, right?
Oh, my God.
I believe Kirk Cousins is going to lose to his old team.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? Oh, we're going to be dying laughing on that.
He'll probably throw like 3 picks because during that game.
That's worth a good beer at least.
Yeah. Watch that game.
I still owe you 2.
Yes, you do.
From the draft.
And that brings us to the NFC South with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that I just kind of like because they're kind of somewhat in my backyard here.
You can't deny them. This is another team that I think has got some glue in it. I think they only improved in the offseason. They've got some glue. They nailed down who they needed to nail down. They really didn't. I mean, they lost a couple, but I mean, they made some replacements with what are solid. But I think the team has glue. You know what I mean? I think there's some stank from Tom Brady left on them somehow.
Well, last year really surprised me because you lose Gronk, you lose Tom Brady, you lose several other pieces, and they still perform.
Yeah, and everyone said they were gone. That's it. Team is over. They're last in the division. They made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs.
And
I think that they're going to make the playoffs this year. And it's basically because the Falcons aren't ready.
Yep.
The Saints aren't going to be ready. And Carolina's not going to be ready. So, I mean, Tampa Bay is kind of got an easy division this year, which historically is not.
The weakest division in the conference, I think, overall, the weakest division, right?
Which is very weird because usually they're not. Usually the Saints are strong. Usually the Falcons are right there. Carolina in the past has been,
5-10 years ago, and it would have been flipped around, Tampa Bay on the bottom. But things are a little topsy-turvy. But yeah, I totally agree with this.
So that brings us to the Atlanta Falcons, and, they already got Kirk Cousins on the photo.
Those boys did a good – now, that is what I call a good season calendar. It was easy for us to format and put in, and look at it, front and center. Your money man.
Right there, man.
Planked, it's got the that's a good team poster right there.
Yeah, he looks good in the uniform, but I predict that Atlanta will not make the playoffs, and Kirk Cousins just goes, I choose to retire.
If he doesn't get injured again, right? Because he's still playing on an Achilles that is questionable, right?
And if he gets injured again, he's definitely done in my book.
Yep. And who's the backup again?
Huh?
Who's the backup again?
Yeah.
Bo Nix.
Yeah, Bo Nix. And, no.
We'll see if Bo gets some playing time, right? We'll see. You want? Okay. All right. We'll see.
Wait a minute. Bo Nix is in Detroit. In Denver.
He's in Denver. Who's the guy they got? I forgot already. Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Phoenix. Nix, Phoenix, X.
Yeah, Phoenix.
I don't think Kirk Cousins finishes the year as the starter.
I think he'll finish the year, but I think I think he'll start the whole year, but assuming he doesn't get hurt, of course, that's always the caveat.
Yeah, I'm calling an injury. Like you called Murray, I'm calling Kurt not 100%.
Yeah, but I do think, like, even if he holds up the whole season and they miss the playoffs, I don't see them paying him again next year. That kind of money.
No.
And he'll be pressured to retire.
They have no team if they do that.
Right. So that brings us to the New Orleans Saints, who I think will sweep the Carolina Panthers and will actually split games with both Tampa as well as Atlanta, which will make it interesting. But yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs.
It totally happened. Totally agree.
Right. So and then that brings us to the Carolina Panthers, who I believe is going to be the worst team in the NFL. And I hate to say that about a team, but they just got so much rebuilding to do. I predict them to have the #1 overall draft pick this coming year.
We're sorry, Carolina. It just is what it is. It's just how it shakes out. They just
don't have the #1 draft pick. So go ahead and on the clock.
From the ash heap of the NFL comes greatness. I had to wait 30 years. So get in line and count your time, Carolina, because it will come.
There's a couple of really good quarterbacks coming out next year, so you're going to have your pick of them. Yeah, I don't want to go into mock drafts because I don't even like mock drafts when we're in mock draft season. But I think you guys are going to be shopping for a quarterback next year
and a coach probably.
And a coach.
The lines are proof that it actually can happen in the NFL. Things do turn around, but not this year.
Hey, good news, Carolina. Ron Rivera is available if you want to hire him back next year.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No.
You have a reunion.
Don't. Oh, God.
And then you can bring back Cam Newton to back up whoever you end up drafting.
Ron, just a message to you, Ron, a personal message. This is your new game, okay? This is what you do now. You don't play football ever again. You don't coach. You do this, and you watch, okay?
And don't even go around the golf cart. Just go to Top Golf, man.
Yeah.
That's like the newest thing in the NFL. Go to
That's
Top
all
Golf.
You need to do, buddy. You're done. Sorry. Love you. Great story. Horrible coach.
All right, so that brings us to the playoff picture next year. The 12th, I said for next year. Next week, 12th of July, we are going to do the playoff picture and what we think is going to happen next year. And you don't want to miss this because everybody has their Super Bowl predictions and they just pull that out of where. We actually are basing this off of wins and losses of everyone that you actually saw, which is a lot of hard work that we put into this thing. We calculated some things. We're going to show you a playoff picture, and you're going to have it, and I want you to debate it. Put your comments at what you saw tonight down in there, and we will do our best to respond. We had a few comments last week, and I responded to them. And we would love to have your comments about the NFC. And please pay attention next week because we will have our prediction to the Super Bowl. And like we said in the opener, the results may shock you.
Woo-hoo!
Come on, Lord Sarge, what are your parting shots?
Great analysis, Coach Mad Mike, as always. I'm on your team. Thank gosh I'm on the Coach Mad Mike team.
All right. So pay attention next week, the 12th of July, for the playoff picture. This is Football Psych, and we're out of here. Peace.